Hey, Randy, can you turn your camera off, please? Thank you. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the National Atomic Testing Museum special webinar featuring UNLV's Tech Tracker program. It's going to be a conversation and activity demonstration today. It's wonderful to have you all here. Before I get started, I do want to make a couple of announcements. At the end of today's event, we will be opening up for questions. They can be about the demonstration or about the program itself. Just so you know. And we also do have some more upcoming webinars that you may be interested in. On Thursday, March 25th at 6 p.m. Pacific, we will be having a distinguished lecture featuring Gary Ho, who's going to be speaking about the 10-year anniversary of Fukushima in Japan, that nuclear reactor accident. So he'll be talking about that and about what we've learned. So that'll be on March 25th at 6 p.m. And then on April 10th, we're going to be having Derek Hall speaking. That's going to be a Saturday, I believe, at 1 p.m. He'll be talking about the plants and animals of the Nevada National Security Site. And so that's going to be around Earth Day, talking about the plants and animals out at the site. So I did want to make those announcements and, of course, welcome you all here today. It's exciting to have you. And what I want to do next is I want to introduce the person who oversees the Tech Tracker program, which is Dr. Erica Marti. Now, she is a faculty member in the College of Engineering at UNLV. Her expertise is in the environmental engineering for water and wastewater treatment. She's a former high school science teacher and taught at Clark High School in Las Vegas. And while she now works in post-secondary education, she maintains a strong connection to K through 12 education through programs like Tech Tracker, which we're talking about today, and creating training opportunities for teachers to become skilled in the engineering design process itself. So on behalf of the museum, thank you all so much, and please help me in welcoming Dr. Erica Marti. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, Dr. Marti, you're muted.
All right, now we've got sound going. Thank you for joining us today to learn about the Tech Tracker program at UNLV. We couldn't have predicted that this would be the weekend before many teachers and students return to the classroom after a year of remote learning, but the timing works out well, and we look forward to working with you remotely or in person in the future. I'd like to acknowledge the sponsors of our program. Our primary supporter is Mission Support and Test Services. They manage and operate the Nevada National Security Site, and additional supporters include the UNLV College of Engineering, the National Science Foundation through the Nexus in Nevada grant. Our focus is in bringing modern technology and trained staff to Nevada classrooms. There are a lot of jobs that fall under science, technology, engineering, and math, or STEM, and these jobs are expected to increase in the future. So we need to engage and train more students for the workforce, and this means getting more students interested in an early age in STEM. Also, the world around us runs on technology. It's everywhere you look, and we want students to be prepared in general to understand the technology around them. Our goals are centered on students and teachers. We want to increase exposure to technology. We want the experiences to be engaging to help students get interested in STEM fields. And we do this by partnering with teachers and providing opportunities to incorporate technology into the curriculum. While we do have an option for class demonstrations, our primary goal is to assist teachers with standard-based units or lessons that integrate the technology. And one of the ways we accomplish this is by partnering with Nevada teachers to develop lessons that feature Tech Tracker equipment and that are aligned to the Nevada Academic Content Standards for Science. A quick overview of our program's history. We're still a pretty new program, having started development in fall of 2018 with the first classroom visits in spring 2019. The program is based on two main issues: lack of access to equipment at some schools and a lack of training in using the equipment at other schools that did have the equipment available. We serve the Las Vegas Valley and nearby communities, including Pahrump. In developing our program, we worked with staff in the Clark County School District and the Southern Nevada Regional Professional Development Program to make sure that we're meeting the needs of teachers and providing a valuable program. When choosing the technology and equipment, we first considered how it might fit with next generation science standards, especially taking into account engineering design standards. And then we worked with teachers to develop the units or lessons that feature the equipment. If you're interested in our program, there's three main steps to work with us. First, we would want you to visit our website to determine what equipment you want to use. We recommend that you would review any lessons we have available, but you can certainly create your own lesson or unit that utilizes the Tech Tracker equipment. We have details on our website, how you can make a reservation, as well as information on frequently asked questions. Once you know what you want to use, then you can fill out the interest form as the first step for making a reservation. We have both an online form or a form that you can print and send in by email. And Tech Tracker staff will send you a reply and ask more questions if necessary. The final step is getting principal permission if it's a school visit. And again, we have an online form, or you can print and email in the form, and then we get the activity scheduled. We offer many different items. Some of them are appropriate for certain grades. We have some lessons that show that. This year, we have also some new items. Since we weren't able to visit a lot of schools, we worked on creating engineering design activities suited for elementary grade levels. We were able to test them out with a partnership with the Discovery Children's Museum, and we're going to get those on our website soon. So next, I'm going to take a few minutes just to show you around the website. Let me make sure. I need to share a different screen, one moment. Right, here is our website. On the main page here, we have some basic information about the Tech Tracker program, and then at the bottom shows our equipment, and it's also connected with quick connects to different lessons. If you hover over the picture here, you'll also see a little description of what the technology is. So this is one place right here on the front page where you can see the type of equipment offered by TechTrekker. Across the top bar, this first tab has information about the reservation process and the frequently asked questions. Under forms and documents, you'll find both the printed and online forms in order to express an interest in TechTrekker and to get the principal permission. We also have a full list of all of our equipment that lets you know how many units are available, what type of considerations you should take into account. If it's a solar activity, it would be outside. Some activities involve water. So you would be able to look through and determine what type of equipment might be work for your classroom. We also have an overview of all of the different lessons. It has the grade level, the topic, the equipment involved, and then what standards are used in those particular lessons. So here's another good overview in determining what might fit well in your classroom. And then we have media and videos. Some of our particular equipment, we've developed some videos that describe what the equipment does and gives you a sense of what you could do with it. And this was in our last tab here. All right, coming up, we're going to feature just one particular equipment. We're going to be featuring here the solar powered fan and light kit. And before we have a live demonstration of the kit, we're going to show a little video that explains the technology behind it. And this is a video that you could also use in your classroom.
What is solar energy? Solar energy is the energy from the sun. The sun provides about 1,300 watts per square meter of energy. This is known as the solar constant. An average light bulb needs 40 watts of power to glow. In 1 square meter, or 10.76 square feet on Earth, the sun gives enough energy to power 34 of these light bulbs. This is what we mean by the solar constant. Not all the radiation that comes through the atmosphere stays on Earth. How do we keep that energy? We need some type of way to turn that radiation from the sun into energy we can use. What is a solar panel? What does a solar panel do? Solar panels, also known as photovoltaic cells, convert sunlight into electricity. They are a source of renewable energy. Electricity is the flow of electric charge. In order to flow, electricity requires a circuit. A circuit is a closed loop of conductive material. There are two types of electric current, AC and DC. It is easier to think of them as water flowing. AC is where the flow changes direction. DC is where the flow stays constant. Energy from the sunlight is absorbed and knocks loose an electron in the cell. The cell is designed with positive and negative sides to create an electric field. The electric field forces electrons to move in a certain direction. That flow of electrons is current. The current generated by sunlight is directed into wires that flow into an inverter, which turns that solar-generated DC electricity into AC electricity. The electricity is now ready to use. Solar panel circuits can be very simple or very complicated. As long as it's a closed loop, electricity can flow. Solar panels generate electricity from the sun. This energy can be used to power our homes, our cities, and even our space stations. What can you power with solar energy today?
Thank you, everyone. And now I would like to introduce Randy Moreno. He is an undergraduate student in civil and environmental engineering at UNLV. He's one of our STEM ambassadors who would do class demonstrations, and he's going to share with you today a demonstration of the solar-powered fan kit.
There we go. Am I unmuted now? Hope so. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. And hopefully you're able to see from my second screen right about now. It is a bit windy today, so I hope you can bear with me. Weather isn't ideal for things that we need for shade to block, but hopefully you can still see me, and looks like that's all good. Okay, hi. As Dr. Marti mentioned, my name is Randy Moreno, and I'm here from UNLV Tech Tracker to talk to you all about the solar and fan light kit. But before we get to the solar and fan light kit, I have to ask you a question first. Where does energy come from? Well, energy comes from the sun. The sun emits light and heat energy to the earth, and, well, plants can absorb that energy, and through photosynthesis, they can grow. And that energy gets transferred to animals who eat the plants, and that way they can grow too and be active. And then us humans, we eat the plants and animals so that we can have the energy to run, do homework, all sorts of things. But why did I ask you, why do solar panel, what does energy have to do with solar panels? Well, actually a whole lot, because solar panels, as I flip over here, require energy, the light energy from the sun, to convert it into what's called electricity. That's a big word, electricity, but we'll get to it in a moment. But first, you notice I turned over the solar panel right here, but nothing's happening on the solar and fan light kit. Well, that's because I haven't turned it on. So let's do that first right now. Whoa, pretty cool, right? So we have the light energy from the sun being absorbed by the solar panel, and it's converting it into electricity. And that's being used to power the light bulbs, the 2 light bulbs, and the 2 fans. Pretty neat, huh? So what happens if I were to take off one of the light bulbs? What do you think would happen? Let's find out. So I'm going to turn this off first, because some light bulbs can be hot, so you have to make sure, safety first. And I'm going to take off one of these light bulbs. Before I turn this back on, what do you think will happen now if I have only one light bulb in there and one fan? Let's find out. So I'm going to turn this on. Whoa. Okay. So what you see here is that the fan is spinning much faster and the light bulb is much brighter. But you notice this fan isn't turned on. Now, remember when I mentioned electricity before? Well, that's very important to understand why this fan is no longer working. Electricity requires what's called a circuit, which means it needs its start and end at the same point. Without that complete loop, that means that something won't get powered. So the light bulb, this light bulb that I have in my hand, and this fan were on one circuit. And this light bulb and this fan are on another circuit. And when I took off this light bulb, it broke the circuit, and that's why the fan no longer works. But you might have noticed something else that's pretty neat. This light bulb is glowing much brighter, and this fan is spinning much faster. And that's because the light energy from the sun that's converted into electricity is only being used on one light bulb and one fan, and is no longer shared between 2 light bulbs and 2 fans. So That's pretty neat. But what might affect a solar panel? Well, what do you think might happen at nighttime? Well, I can't control the daylight or the sun, but I can control the solar panel right here because it is certainly small enough. So I'm going to flip over the solar panel to kind of simulate what it would be like at nighttime if the solar panel was unable to absorb any sun. So let's do that now. And I'm slowly flipping it over and Well, the fan slowly went slower and then it just stopped. And the light bulb, well, it just turned off. So now you know that the solar panel absolutely needs the sun to power the light bulb and the fan. Now this is exactly like nighttime right now, but you may be asking, what about the moon? Or what about the stars? Well, the stars are too far away to actually produce any light, and the fan is actually only reflecting light and not producing it. That's why the moon or the stars won't actually produce enough light for the solar panel. So, but what does this look like throughout the day though? Let's see if I can simulate what that might look like if I were to rotate the solar panel, similar to how the Earth rotates. Let's find out. Okay. So imagine it's slowly getting morning. I'm slowly lifting this up. And it's just about to get daytime. Oh, it's about morning. And about later in the morning. Now we're at high noon right about now. And we're slowly going into the evening. The sun is setting. Everyone's starting to think about going to sleep and finishing their homework. And now completely nighttime. So what might have you noticed? Well, as I was slowly moving this or rotating the solar panel, it slowly started, well, the light bulb slowly started to turn on and it got a lot brighter. And the fan slowly started to turn on a little bit as well. And then at nighttime, there we go, it got dimmer. And then finally, everything just turned off. Now you may have noticed something else, is that the fan turns on actually before the light bulb. And that's because the fan requires electricity to run compared to the light bulb. So one thing that you also might have noticed is that at midday, there is the most light hitting the sun. Now notice right now, I have it where the sun is, I'm pointing it right about where the sun is. So it's directly at the sun. And notice it's getting much brighter right about now than it was before. So now we kind of know how solar panels might work during the day, and a little bit of shade is blocking it, but let's talk about that. Let's talk about some of the limitations and maybe some of the constraints of solar panels, because there certainly are some. Now you notice already, my shade is currently blocking part of the solar panel. Can you think of anything that might block the solar panel? Anything else? Maybe a cloud, maybe a tree, maybe even a building. Those things can all block a solar panel from absorbing light from the sun. Now you notice when I move slightly over, it's back into the sun. But I'm gonna pretend like, well, I have a pretty decent makeshift cloud here as the wind is slowly picking up a little bit faster right about now. But I'm going to slowly move this into the shade and tell me what you think happens to the light bulb and the solar and the fan. So we're slowly moving it over. We're getting a little bit of cloud cover. The fan is still going. Remember what I mentioned earlier, the fan doesn't require as much electricity to run. It's certainly not as fast right now. slowly covering a little bit more, a little bit more. And again, you can see right here, it's completely in the shade. And the light bulb is completely off, and the fan it slows down just a little bit, but it still senses that there's sunlight until it's actually completely flipped over will the fan actually stop. So I'll put this back in the sunlight so you guys can watch that. So why is this important? Why do we use solar panels? Well, considering that we need electricity to power things such as maybe a microwave, toaster, computer, a camera for a presentation. There's a lot of things that require electricity that a solar panel can help with. But one of the main benefits of solar panels is that it is actually renewable energy. As long as we have the sun, we have a solar panel, we can produce electricity to power our daily devices. Now, this may differ from, well, non-renewable resources. Can you think of what they might be? Well, maybe coal or maybe oil. These things will eventually run out of, and that's why solar panels, because of renewable energy, are so much important. But also one other thing is that coal and oil produce what's called carbon dioxide, and that's harmful for the environment. Whereas solar panels don't produce any of that. Pretty neat, huh? So I'd like to thank you all for coming today for the Solar and Fan Kit presentation. My name is Randy Moreno from UNLV Tech Tracker, and thank you so much. Hope you've learned a lot.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Randy, and thank you so much, Dr. Marti, for talking about the program and also showing us the cool demonstration of the solar panel activity. So I mentioned at the beginning that we would open up for questions. So if anybody in chat would like to ask their questions, whether, as I mentioned, it's either about the program, Tech Tracker itself, or about the activity that Randy just demonstrated for us. We're taking questions right now. I did have a question myself for Dr. Marti. Now, through these activities, do you also talk about the different careers where they can kind of look to in terms of to actually take this science, and if they're interested, what kind of activity or careers they might actually go into if they're interested in a particular activity or science? Is that something that the website does through Tech Tracker?
Hey, Joe, thanks for that question. The Tech Tracker isn't specifically designed to talk about the different careers. We mainly want to integrate the technology into standards-based lessons. However, if we have two different ways that we can really work with teachers. One is the visits or remote visits that are based on using the technology for standards. We also do class demonstrations, which is what Randy modeled today, which would be a student demonstrating the equipment and talking about how it works. And in that aspect, we could incorporate something about careers if that was an interest. It's just not a standard part of our program. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Marti. That's good. It's good to know that it's an option if the teachers are kind of curious about that, because I know that's a big thing too, is STEM and what you can do with that. So that's great to know. And once again, if there's any questions, please drop them into the chat. And I do actually have a question for Randy as well. Now, for the solar panel activity, do you talk about the solar power being stored, like if it was, for storing energy, Is that ever part of the presentation?
Hopefully I'm unmuted now. It's kind of hard to see in the sunlight hitting my laptop. But yeah, so there's other kits that we do use. One of the kits is a solar and battery light kit. Today it was just the solar and fan light kit, but that would be something that is available, I believe. Dr. Marti could confirm if we're still having that as an option for teachers to ask us to present for their class too. So hope that answers your question.
Thanks, Randy. Yes, I can follow up on that. We do have what we call an off-grid kit that does have battery storage. And we have activities that are aligned with that are more 5th, 6th grade appropriate. And so the students would get to see how we can both store the energy or we can power things directly with solar power.
Perfect. Thank you both so much. Really appreciate that. And so, yes, that's fantastic. And so one thing I want to do is, again, thank Dr. Marti and Randy, one of the STEM ambassadors, for joining us today for this special webinar about Tech Tracker, about all the great work that they do, that they can do in the classroom or virtually. I know me personally, I would love to see them here at the museum doing some of their activities, hopefully in the future. And I do want to follow up again and say that we do have some upcoming distinguished lectures in the future. Again, March 25th, a Thursday at 6 p.m. That is going to be Gary Ho talking about Fukushima after the 10 years after the accident in that nuclear power plant. And on April 10th, on a Saturday at 1 p.m., we're going to have Derek Hall from the Nevada National Security Site speaking about the animals and plants that are found out at the site. And so on behalf of the National Atomic Testing Museum and our guests today, Dr. Erica Marti and Randy, the STEM ambassador, I want to thank you all so much for joining us today, and you stay safe out there and have a wonderful day, and thanks again.